Well, hello guys, welcome to another London session analysis video. So once again, today I'll be looking at GJ, Gold, GU, and NAS. We'll see what we can come up with moving forward into London session. And I hope you've all had a good week. It's been quiet myself. I've only taken that one trade, which I took, I think it was Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, which I did mention in that update video. But yeah, personally I haven't spent much time on the charts, but nonetheless, it's been hard work in the background. So let's get started. Let's look at GJ. Oh, excuse that. All right, so looking at the weekly time frame, and that is now forming a very strong bullish candle. We have a high, low, high, high to the previous candle as well. Yesterday we made a clean move, a nice move up. A lot of volume yesterday to the upside. Looking at the weekly, there is still potential for it to continue to the upside. There's really clean traffic to the left hand side. We've got some clean candles. Once again, doesn't mean it's going to necessarily do it over the next day and a bit, next 2 days of trading. Oh, there is a chance and there is a probability that it could come back up eventually to retest the highs, which was the highs of the previous last year at some point. So we are strong bullish on a weekly time frame. Again, and what I mentioned earlier in the week, if you can remember, guys, was that when we come to a chart of a new week and we see a strong candle like so in a previous weekly candle, bullish engulfing candle, we always look to the left and ask ourselves potentially where price on the minor or lower time frames, that being the 4-hour and M30, where price could potentially pull back to create slow wick, form a support before it begins to head back up and trend with the prevailing trend of the previous weekly candle, in this case bullish. And that is exactly what GJ did. If you remember, it was a 4-hour support that it tapped into, formed support out, and look at it since. So analysis game spot on in that respect. Looking at daily structure, it's still technically bearish once again, and won't flip until these highs. But what we do have on our side is, look at that candle, very strong bullish engulfing candle. So what I can do is mark in the 50% in that candle, just to see potentially if that lines up with a previous support or resistance where price could pull back to grab some more liquidity, form a support before it heads back up. So I'm just going to mark in the 50%. Looks like a little bit below we've got the resistance, but we'll see that it's still at a level price could potentially pull back to. However, we do have a high, low, high, high within the previous daily candle. Not a lot of volume obviously just yet throughout the Asian session. Closing right up near our highs and not really leaving much of an upper wick. Maybe will it run out of steam? We're not sure just yet. So, but based off the previous candle itself, it does look like we have room to potentially continue to see the upside. We do have some decent traffic to the left hand side. See what we'll go once we go down to the 4-hour and M30. But we are technically bearish, but with counter probabilities to the upside. Looking at the 4-hour, again, does look like it could pull back. It is at a level of resistance. Obviously, all this traffic to the left hand side, this is a previous level of resistance. But consolidating a bit right now, which is good because we're grabbing some more liquidity for either a push back to the upside or a deeper pullback to grab some more orders from the downside before we head back bullish. But the structure itself is flipped bullish. Yesterday was bearish. So we're bullish and we're just consolidating though. We're just hit a bit of a hurdle at the current resistance. If it was to mark that in, that lines up perfectly. So I can just drag that across for the time being. See, it lines up with where we're at. Change it to gray. So technically bullish on the 4-hour. Most recent support is this point here. What I'm going to do is mark in that most recent resistance that we're broken out of, and I'm going to leave it at that. As for targets to the upside, not a great deal of room. We'll see what we've got on the M30. We're technically bullish in the 4-hour. Looking at the 30-minute, it's also technically bullish. Just adjust this a little bit. Not going through so many candle bodies. All right, so to the upside, we've got a little bit of room by the looks of it. Let's just mark in that next level. Looks like we could have a little bit of a target to the upside. Yeah, barely 10 pips. But nonetheless, what we are doing is trending. And when we're trending, what we are likely to do is, once the volume starts to kick back in, we're likely to continue, once we break the high, continue to trend yet again. So, like so. So what we're doing just now is grabbing some liquidity. So if we begin to break above, I feel there's still going to be potential options as we begin to break above the high. However, again, I would prefer closures above. but be very careful with it, guys. What I'm going to do is mark in this support, and I'm going to say if we flip bearish at that point. Yeah, I know it's not a consecutive candle swing in the opposite direction. However, to me, it does resemble a swing. Not only that, but below that level, we have some significant, well, some clean traffic to the left-hand side. I'm just going to remove the 50% just now because I kind of feel at that point there, you might as well just wait for it to tap into that previous resistance to form a support. So for me on GJ today, what I'd be looking for is I prefer to buy it. So if we do pull back and grab a little bit more liquidity from that 185.30 level, form a bit of support, I'm just going to be looking for my catalyst at that point there, especially if it's a clean-ish move down to back to that support. As long as I get my right triggers within price action, I can look to buy it from support. So I just put buys above. Now, consider buys above the highs, but on a closure, be very careful with it, guys. Honestly, be very careful. What you're probably best to do is, seeing it's at a strong level of resistance to the left, let it create a clean move. This is ideally what you should be doing really in this situation. Let it create a clean move to cut through all that mess and tap into the resistance higher up, pull back, form a support above it, and then look for your triggers in price action once it forms support to potentially buy back up towards the high. That is what I prefer to do in this sort of scenario. Now, as for the sells now, guys, so as I mentioned, I'm going to consider it flipping back bearish at this point here. And not only that, we are at a 4-hour resistance. We are definitely at a 4-hour resistance here to the left. It's definitely a level price could begin to reject. We are exhausting. Also, furthermore, the previous daily didn't close with an upper wick. It's got a tiny upper wick. Current daily broken a high, but if it does begin to break its own low, well, let's just mark that in. I think it's broken the previous. That's a bit above that support, but I feel if that is the case, then what we're going to do is come back down, likely to retest this support. If we do reject it and pop below it, clean traffic to left, I would definitely look to sell it. Doesn't mean it's going to make the move all the way back down, but there is a chance that it could do so towards that 184.30. So for me, the cleaner sell options will come below this support just here. That's why I'd rather just do. Yeah, that's for now. We'll see what happens though. Come in way, that could change a little bit. All right, so now onto gold, guys. Gold, just marked in this chart. Actually, it was marking the wrong chart for those of you I send charts to. I was start marking up this chart. That's why I've got a few zones already marked in. All right, so on gold, let's look at it though on top-down analysis. So weekly, yeah, week bearish now. It's still forming bearish low, low, high, low, low. Again, suggests to me there's a good chance that any pullback could be met by resistance in the minor time frames before it heads back down. So that's once we go down to 4M30, we see potential levels for that to potentially happen. Daily, still bullish, but previous candle close bearish. Current candle pulling back significantly into the previous candle, bouncing off this support. We're still respecting it. Still a strong level that price keeps rejecting. Very hard to make of the weekly. It's very messy at the moment. At this rate, the daily. We're gonna have to wait and see what we've got. The 4M30 when the structure is bearish. Bullish. Previous daily candle is bearish. Current daily candle, no lower wick. So once again, we're gonna mark in that low of the current day's candle. All right, so that's at the support. Looking at the 4-hour, the 4-hour is technically bearish in structure as well. So we've got the weekly bearish, 4-hour bearish, daily bullish. The 4-hour is once again approaching resistance, not far away from it, so not far away from a potential sell zone. Pretty sure I'm going to be looking to sell it if it taps in and rejects. That's what I'll be looking at, just based off that time frame itself. Previous candle, not a great deal of volume, but it's not yet showing signs of exhaustion. Current candle just open, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer into it, see if we do pull up and retest that 2035.80 sort of level and see how it reacts to that. Now I'm just going to remove the low of the current day's candle because it's right out of support. All right, looking at the also quickly just back onto the 4-hour, we are trending down. We are bearish, and we are, as we can see, we are respecting any pullback. We're creating lower highs and pretty much lower lows, to be honest, within the micro trend. So at this stage, it looks like we do have still momentum to the downside. Every pullback is met by another drop in line with the trend. Looking at the 30-minute, and that is technically bearish. stays the low and won't flip back bullish technically until I'd say above this though. It's technically this pullback here, but you're not going to buy it into resistance, and it's not just any resistance, it's 4-hour resistance. So what I like to see on gold right now, excuse me guys, pull back, finally tap back into that level, then look for your signs of rejection. Like for it to make a bit of a decent move up though. If we have similar to what we had over here yesterday, where you get that got that bearish engulfing candle, I would definitely be looking to sell at that point there. Or even this scenario here, for long wick to the upside closing near its low, could almost take the impulse entry. That would have been an option yesterday as well. So similar scenarios to sell it from up these highs. That's what I'd definitely be looking for. You've got further support just here. I would be looking for sells below that level there as well. It's a support form within the current daily candle, and it is a potential entry point. There's also a level just here, guys, so perhaps closures below that level, I would say also could be, if it comes to decent time volume, we're around that level. That could be a potential entry point to sell as well. Buys from lower down, again, if you, it's going to be against the structure with the daily structure. Confidences would be the daily, just pulling back to form support, and then its own candle is forming strong bullish. So we respect, again, even if we flip the current daily candle, create lower wick, flip it bearish, and form a support, this previous strong support. As long as we get the right confirmations to buy it, I would look to buy it back up from the lows as well, guys. That's what I'd be looking at on gold. Quickly on the GU, I'm not going to waste time on it if it looks like crap. It's at a resistance. I can just drag this across. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be bullish, but again, being lazy on GU, guys, sorry, because it's not a power trade. But I will start to stop with the laziness moving forward. All right, so GU, so we're at a resistance. Let's look at it quickly across all the time frames. Weekly is forming strong bullish. We have broken the high of the previous, barely, but we do have a high low, higher high. Looking at daily, we are near our high, and daily structure is technically still bullish. We do have a high low, higher high at a resistance though on the daily time frame, so that's something to consider. Obviously it's a 4-hour resistance as well. The structure itself is still technically bearish, but it could be potentially flipping bullish. We're at a resistance just now, showing signs of exhaustion. So this indecision, well, this hammer candle along with the upside, what that has done is form a support on the minor time frame, the M30. So that has provided potential entry point to sell it at the highs, albeit against the M30 structure though, beat against the bias, but we're at a 4-hour resistance. So just now, if we begin to pop below, nice strong bearish candle, tap back into low of this consolidation and reject it, that could be your first potential entry. So you want to be selling it high, guys. Obviously, if you're trading against the actual structure and bias itself, you're looking for your catalyst at certain levels, and this is definitely a level I would look to consider selling. It's at a daily and 4-hour resistance. But don't just sell it as soon as it begins to break. Wait for your strong confirmation. Wait for it to be around a higher time of volume because it's more likely to continue. Wait for a little bit of structure to form if you can. So wait for that drop, a little bit of a pullback, and you look to sell upon the pullback, or look to sell it as it begins to pop back below the support. Buys lower down, obviously looking to levels where price could pull back to form a support. There's one just there. If it does, again, you're just looking for your catalyst at that level to buy it back up, and that would be GU. Now onto NAS, just quickly, last but not least. NAS, this is untouched from yesterday. Just marked up a chart, which I've just sent into to most of you guys. All right, so it's the last real swing point. All right. That's going to be a 4-hour zone. Let's quickly look at NAS. It's just been in a massive uptrend all week. So looking at weekly, very strong bullish, and is bullish engulfing now. So that previous strong bearish candle. Wow. Very strong candle. So again, this is just me any pullback. It could be likely met by support minor time frames to head back up. What we're doing is looking, once we go down in time frames, the potential levels price could pull back to form support before it heads back up. Daily structure is still technically bullish. We still got momentum as well. No signs of exhaustion just yet. We do have a high low, higher high in the current daily. at a resistance though. When we pop down to the 4 hour and the M30, pretty much right at these highs. So it doesn't mean it won't continue, but maybe even be a little bit more conservative with it. It could also pull back down. So obviously going to be looking for buys above support at 16,657. It does eventually pull back down to that level. Just obviously you need to wait for your cues. You don't just buy it as it taps into it, in my opinion anyway. M30, so we've got, this is all 4 hour level basically, so there's still a bit of margin once it pops above the high, which is good. What it's done is tapped into the resistance, the highest point of the current daily candle, and we've pulled back and we're forming a support. So if we begin to break above the current daily candle's high, you've got clean traffic to the left. That to me is definitely a level I will look to get involved in a buy. Just a matter of what time it happens. Could happen surely down in the volume this time of day, but it still doesn't mean it won't work, but it would make sense. Once again, I'm looking to the left to see where price could potentially pull back to form a support before it heads back up. What I can see, we've got pretty much this whole area, guys. It's a big area to look for support to form, to buy it back up. I would not be tempted to sell it just now, to be honest. I'd rather just be patient. It's in such an uptrend throughout the week. I'd rather just miss the sell, let it create a move down, form a support. Could even form a support just here. That is at previous level. We've got a resistance candle, a bearish candle, which creates resistance followed by a support straight away. So it could be even that level there. But I'd rather just play with the trend, and it's in a massive uptrend right now. So I wouldn't be trying to predict this is the top. So I'd be waiting patiently for it to either pull back to buy from support, or to buy upon continuation above 16,862.60, and that will be it for NAS. Potential sales might line up maybe close to 10Y, and I'll let you guys know once I should do an update video for that too. Alrighty guys, take care, trade safe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye for now.